Hello and welcome to Bourbon Rocks. Tonight we're going to review Blanton's Gold Edition. Now, Blanton's Gold Edition is basically Blanton's but bottled at 10 proof points higher. This is bottled at 103 proof, whereas typical Blanton's is bottled at 93 proof. Now, again, this is a product from Buffalo Trace. Most people are familiar with Blanton's. It's got the nice cork stopper with the horse on it, which comes with different letters and has different stages of the gallop. And if you collect all those letters, you can put them together and make a nice little centerpiece like this, which if done, put into the top of a well-charred bourbon barrel. And it makes a nice conversation piece for parties. It's got a little horseshoe, so the bottle of Blanton sits right in there. We showed it first with the straight from the barrel bourbon, Blanton's, and this is Blanton's Gold. Now, it's aged around 6 to 8 years. This is a product that initially was only available for the Japanese market. The mash bill number 2 from Buffalo Trace is what they call the high rye mash bill, but I consider it more of a medium rye mash bill, around 20%. And it includes the Blantons and the Elmer T. Lees and the Rock Hill Farms, for example. And this mash bill is owned by Age International, which is partly owned at least by the Japanese. And so a lot of the Blanton's expressions were only available in Japan. But now the Blanton's Gold is available in the United States. Again, the typical Blanton's about 93 proof, the Blanton's Gold 103. Your Blanton straight from the barrel, for example, which we reviewed, is going to be barrel proof. We had one that was 128.2 proof, but they can vary, obviously. Again, all the Blantons come from Warehouse H, which is the metal-clad warehouse, which gives that sort of the unique flavor to the Blantons. Mash bill number 1 we've reviewed multiple times, which are the Buffalo Trace, Eagle Rare, the E.H. Taylor, and the Stag line, and that is the low rye bourbon. But these are mash bill number 2, which is the medium rye bourbons. So we're going to try Blanton's Gold Edition and maybe comment on how it compares to the typical Blantons as well as the Blanton straight from the barrel. Blanton's Gold Edition. Interesting about this bottle is a little bit different. You can notice that the stopper is actually made of gold. Well, not made of gold, I should say colored gold. If it was truly made of gold, then this bottle would be a whole lot more expensive than it is. But it's already overpriced on the secondary market. But you can see that the typical horses from the Blantons is going to be more of the sort of bronzy looking color. But there's definitely a gold color. Not solid gold, obviously. Probably not even gold plated. I suspect it's just gold paint. But at any rate, it's a gold color, so it looks different. This bottle's a little bit smaller too, because this is a 700 ml bottle, because it does come from Japan, which some of the imported bottles are actually not 750 like we're used to in the United States. So it's a little bit smaller. They short you basically one shot. But anyway, so let's take it from there. So we look at the color, and again, interesting. I find this a little bit darker. It's more of a reddish brown, more than less of an orange brown. I think it's somewhat darker than the straight from the barrel, which is kind of interesting considering that the straight from the barrel is a higher proof. I'd expect it to maybe be a little bit darker, but it's not. They're aged about the same, so but. The finish, probably also a little bit thinner on the finish. Some legs there, but not as much as you get with the straight from the barrel. So a little bit deeper in color, a little bit thinner on the body. Go to the nose. Open your mouth, get that aromas up into those olfactory nerves at the top of your nose. Lower proof. I never thought that there was a whole lot of alcohol scent coming from straight from the barrel. Even though it was higher proof, it really didn't hit you with a lot of alcohol. This one, of course, being even lower proof, really doesn't hit you with much alcohol at all. So you really just start picking up that honey. There's a lot of honey in this. You know, some cinnamon notes, a little bit of fruit, some peach cobblerish, you know, cinnamon sugar like you might put on a rice pudding or tapioca pudding. But definitely a lot of honey. This is a lot of honey here. It's almost a little like the honey phyllo, maybe even little pistachio notes. It reminds me like baklava. You know, I like I'm in Greece, you know, at a Greek restaurant for dessert. There's layers of phyllo dough with the honey and, you know, maybe some pistachio or so on it. Really good. It's not that spicy. More fruity than the straight from the barrel. Less vanilla. See how it tastes. Yeah, there's fruit in there. Dried fruits, some dates, raisin, apricot maybe. Again, that cinnamon sugar comes through. The spice level is, or notes are more cinnamon. The fruit notes are more those dried fruits. The sweet notes really still are honey. I mean, this would be a honey bomb if there is a way to put that. I think the sweetness comes more in a kind of a honey level. Again, you got that. It still reminds me of baklava with that kind of layers of, you know, phyllo dough with the honey kind of just painted over it and maybe some little pistachio. I like the fruitiness. Let's see if I can get a little more of that dried fruit. This is one where the nose and the palate does match each other quite well. You know, that fruitiness, that honey, sort of cobbler, baklava type flavor that I can just keep tasting that little layers of phyllo with the honey painted over it and so forth. It's you know, you got a little bit of caramelness, a little, you know, nuttiness, maybe like you remember this little bit of honey, those little pieces of candy that had that sort of honeyed caramel kind of nutty type flavor to it. It's interesting. You know, I don't think it is as deep as the straight from the barrel. You know, that 128 proof definitely got deeper into the barrel, pulled more of those vanillins out of the wood. Neither one of them are oaky. They're not aged very long. There was, you know, much more of that kind of that spice that hit you with the higher proofed Blantons. This one is definitely more fruit and honey. I mean, honey. Honey is the predominant flavor here for sure. The finish, you know, it's not as long as, let's call it medium finish. It's not as long as the straight from barrel. It drinks its proof, you know, 103. It's 103. It doesn't drink hotter than that. Doesn't drink cooler than that. It's pretty much right on proof point, I think. A little bit peppery maybe at the finish. The fruit's kind of gone on the finish. It fades out pretty quickly. Let's see what a little bit of water does. See if that changes anything. I like to put a little water in my bourbons to see if it does change a bit. This is Kentucky limestone water deep from the Kentucky aquifers. You can buy this on Amazon, you know, and I put it in these little droppers. Sometimes honey, I found honey, I'm sorry, excuse me, water sometimes brings out more of the, you can tell honey's on my brain because of this honey bomb right here, but water sometimes brings out more of the fruity notes. With this one, I'm not sure it changes a lot there. I don't see honey, I'm sorry, honey bomb. I don't see the water doing a whole lot actually to this. It doesn't change much. It's still kind of got that, maybe a honey nut Cheerio. Still got the honey, little nuttiness. I'm telling baklava. This is like I want this to finish my Greek meal. You know, have a nice gyro and then some baklava and Blanton's Gold Edition. So Blanton's Gold Edition from Buffalo Trace, 103 proof. 3 or 10 points up from the typical Blantons. Check us out on bourbonrocks.com. Good night.